the doctor in front of your name.
It was such a pleasure just seeing your story, seeing how everything unfolded, even on a national stage,
Mhm.
a nationally syndicated show. And I'm wondering for the both of you, like, how did that come about? Like, was it something that the show they came to you all, or?
Well, prior to being asked to be a part of the program, I had written a book. I was writing a book at the time that Natalie and I met. It's called Reminiscences of Sea Island Heritage, where I had documented oral histories of community members I'd grown up under, their beliefs, customs, traditions, had old songs, spirituals, and work songs of the community, and historical photographs from the late 1800s to 1900s. And after that book was published, we scripted it into a theatrical performance that we toured the country performing, bringing those stories to life. And it was at that time our firstborn was she was potty trained on the road. We were expecting our secondborn, and we knew that something needed to be changed. Natalie could not go into these school classrooms with the cafeterias.
Wow.
With, the smells that would be permeating, and there she was expecting, and something needed to change. And it was at that time that we came in touch with Gloria Naylor. Gloria Naylor, the novelist, had written Mama Day about a fictional Gullah community, and afterwards, after the book was published, she bought a home on St. Helena Island, and we became friends. And I'll let Natalie take over.
So yeah, Gloria's a friend. She called herself. I remember when my daughter was born, because she showed up at our house with this stroller that looked like a Cadillac of strollers to us. And she said, "Just think of me as your rich auntie." So that was rich auntie vibes before folk were saying rich auntie. That was 30-something years ago. Right. And so we were friends. And some years later, when I was pregnant with my son, she was actually having a novel option for a movie. It never went, but she was bringing down her friend who was going to work with her on this. And she brought her friend down to St. Helena, and we went out late one night to eat cold chicken on somebody's porch, you know.
Lawrence Fishburne was to be the star and also the director of it. And the woman, as Natalie said, who was to be the executive producer of Mama Day, Disney movie. But this Disney movie never came into being. During the dinner conversation, we were asked what were our views on children's television programs, and we responded. Our daughter was 3 years old at the time, and we knew what we would like. One of the things we had hoped for children's TV was that there would be a program that our daughter would watch and not afterwards decide that she had blonde hair and blue eyes. Yes. And Maria Perez, who was to have been the executive producer of the movie, said that she and her business partner, Kathleen Minton, back in New York, were working on a television program idea that they wanted to pitch to Nick Jr., who was looking for comulticultural programming. She was from Puerto Rico. It would be about some enchanted, magical Gullah island. This was her first time coming to a Gullah community. Would we be interested? Yeah. And we said, sure, but we had heard offers like that before from the performance that we did, and we never heard anything from those others who had told us they knew people or could do something. She said when she got back to New York, she would get in touch with her business partner and then be back in touch with us. And we said, yeah, right. But that's exactly what happened. And a creative team flew down, and they followed us around for about a week. And I'm a former newspaper reporter, so was Mr. Ron. Miss Natalie did crafts. That's what Miss Natalie does.
Yes.
Our daughter, we would entertain her because we would be traveling, doing performances. And when we were home, I wanted to push her on the swing and engage with her in our home environment. And that's what the creative team saw, and that's what they produced for this fictional Gullah Island community.
The head writer at the time, Francisco Hyman, who I love dearly to this day, after hanging out with us, he said, "Okay, I know you don't do TV. You just be you, and we'll work around that." Mm-hmm. And that made me feel okay because we could just be ourselves with our. My son was born. Came in there. When we met Maria Perez, I was very pregnant. Mm-hmm. And then when they said, "Well, come up to New York and meet the folk at Nick so we can talk about it," I was like 9 months pregnant. I said, "No, not coming." And so then when Simeon was 5 weeks old, we flew north with my baby, and he's nursing, so he's got to go where Mama goes. That's just right. So we were there in this meeting with all these executives like Nick Jr. and one of them, her name is Brown Johnson. She said, "Oh, can I hold the baby?" And I handed her Simeon, and he threw up down her black suit. And I said, "This is a long trip." But we had a show before the end of the day.
Right.
Got back on the plane.
Yeah. And it aired within a year. It was on air, and TV doesn't work like that anymore.
No.
But it was like that, and because it was grace. My general answer is to how did this happen? It was grace. As Ron said, it was one thing traveling around the country with one child. The idea of traveling around the country in that big blue van with 2 children, and it's very good this happened because Simeon was not a good traveler.
He was not that kind of.
Yes, Simeon was a great traveler. But Simeon, he wasn't having it. So the blessing of the show happening. So he was 5 months old when we shot the pilot for the show.
Wow.
We introduced the production team to members of the St. Helena Island, the Gullah Geechee community. That's why when the Gullah Island family left our home, we visited real people who spoke a real language, who lived following these certain beliefs. Who we had the Beaufort High School band, and I'm a Beaufort High School alum, to perform on the program and other community groups, and that was very exciting.
So it meant a lot, not just for the both of you, but for the entire community.
Yes.
Yeah, I still would find folks who say, "Oh, Miss Natalie, I was in that episode where this happened." Because community just come and like there was a shrimper who lived next door. Mr. Bradley, he really was the shrimper Ron grew up next door to.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Ranger Mike really was the park ranger out at the beach. Mm-hmm. So this was just folk.
I remember Ranger Mike.
Yeah.
Mike life. Yeah.
So y'all were reality TV before there was reality TV, like
more or less. Yeah. But you know good and well, in real life, if you are a parent, it takes more than 23 minutes to resolve the problem.
Right.
Yeah, very true. Very true. But I don't know. I feel like maybe if my parents would have sung me a song or, did an arts and crafts, like something, I think that it could have been resolved in 23 minutes.
Those are things that we did in real life that the production team saw and modeled for the TV. Yeah. Gullah Island family.
Yeah, we sang with our kids. We always did.
Right.
We sang in our house. We always did, and we still do.
Many of the songs were spirituals that the musical team more or less adapted to a more rhythmic kind of performance for a children's song. So it was great.
I remember those songs were so powerful because I can
the doctor in front of your name.